The stars are out. The sun is shining. And I am a proud papa to be.
The ground.
What a week it's been. And I mean, lots of highlights. Really just Uma Musume. And the kid, I guess. Okay, so all right. I'm gonna get in trouble with one of these jokes one day. I just know it. I'm gonna make a joke that the baby's not number one, and Yuki's gonna hit me with the slipper. But until that day comes, I'm gonna keep slinging the jokes. Just want to let everybody know, Yuki's healthy. The baby's healthy. Yuki's upset. She's exhausted. Her body's in pain. And she is trying to take care of the little one all by herself. And I do feel bad. I do feel bad because
that's funny.
I was messaging her today and she just sent a string of messages where she was like, this is so painful. My body's aching. Every 30 minutes he's crying. I have to hold him for an hour. I love him so much. I just need rest. I just want to get home. And I was like, I literally, no exaggeration, I was watching Rush Hour 2 and I had a bag of M&Ms.
Pete, we turning this into
and
a subathon now.
I was just like listening and I was like, oh, God damn it.
This sweater's white.
Sorry, Yuki, the waiter should have taken it back. Essentially, the way this thing works out is that my poor wife, who just went through, hell and back, giving a baby, and it's incredible what she accomplished. But basically in Japan, or at least at our hospital, it depends on where you go. Depends on which hospital you're in. It's usually in which area of town that you live in that they assign you a hospital. So she does not let, or the hospital does not let visitors stay for more than 10 or 15 minutes. They can't visit the room that she's in. They have to wait in the lobby. She's there for over a minimum of 5 days, up to 8 days. She's in a room with 3 or 4 other women who just gave birth or are about to give birth. It's tragic. There's nothing I can do about that. There's nothing I can do about that. I can visit for 15 minutes a day, and I didn't go today. I skipped my son's first full day of his life, but not by choice. It was her parents came into town. And it's only 2 guests maximum. So, of course, I wanted her mom and dad to go in there and see the baby. Of course. And so I'll be there tomorrow for my 15 minutes of fun. Last time you saw me, I was streaming Uma Musume, Pretty Derby Dash, legend of the commentating. Who knows what's going on here? You guys were bullying me, saying I was a shit trainer. Can only race... what was it? I can only race pacers and front runners, and I crashed out. I was tired. It was been a 10-hour stream with a break in the middle. Yuki was at the hospital. I end the stream and I go to the living room and I have my DAPS emergency sando, and I go down to my boxers and my t-shirt. It's not boxers, boxer briefs. And I'm sitting there and I immediately get the message, you need to come to the hospital now. So I say, I'm on the way. I get dressed. I put on my nice shirt. I get my jacket on. I try to look in the mirror. I tell the little Kupo plushie, I love you, buddy. I'll see you later. We got important business. I dash out the door. I go to the hospital and I'm in the lobby. And they said, you can come see your wife. And then I get there, false alarm. She's in the labor room, but she was like, sorry, they didn't tell me enough. They said that the baby is like, I guess it could be like 7 or 8 hours from now. And I said, oh, well, that's fine. I'm glad to be here. And then suddenly I asked them, I say, hey, is it possible for me to stay in here? Like, what's this process? And they said, well, you should just go home and we'll call you when the baby's nearly born. And I said, what if I'm asleep or something? And they said, nah, just, you can just go there. You can just go do your own thing. And then we'll call you and you can just come here when the baby's done. And I was like, when the baby's done? I was like, I don't mind waiting. Can I just like take a nap in the lobby or something? Can I just be here or do something? And they were like, no. And I go, okay, let me just talk to somebody else. Can I stay? I'm staying at the hospital.
50 subs?
So I say to them, I go, listen, I don't care if this is going to take all day. I kind of want to be here for my son's birth. I'm already tired. I'm already here. Let's just lock it in. And they said, okay.
To my surprise, I stumbled across a secret,
all right,
sexy
I'm in.
club.
And so when I dropped Yuki off during the stream, her dilation was 3 centimeters. And I guess generally you have to have 10 centimeters to give a baby. I guess. I don't know. That's what I heard. And from when I dropped her off at like 2 a.m., and when I got there at 6:15 or 6:30, it was already 7 centimeters. So it was happening fast. Now, I'm in the room with Yuki, and I said, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to be in the room with you, or do you want me to wait out in the lobby? And she didn't really have a preference. Or maybe she was trying to protect me. I don't know. And eventually I said, and I told her my thoughts. I said, I'm pretty nervous about all this. But you know what? She's like, well, whatever you want to do, just do it. You should go home if you want. And I go, no. I said, okay, I want to be in the room. I want to be in the room. And she was like, okay. And I was like, I want to hold your hand. I want to be there for you in case something happens or whatever. I want to be there. And she was like, okay. So I'm in the room and, poor Yuki on the weekends, there's no anesthesia. So she's got to tank this. No anesthesia, no epidurals. She's got to go natural because on the weekends in Japan, there's no painkiller doctor available. So we're just going to have to tough this one out. She's already sweating. Now, one of the things is in the room next door. I am not kidding. For an hour and a half while I'm making the decision with her, while we're debating on if I can stay or not, all I can hear and Yuki can hear is another woman in labor going, Itai! Ah! Itai! Itai! Dekinai! Dekinai! Itai! And I looked at my wife and I go, can't be that bad. I was just trying to cheer her up. And in the background, it's just, Itai! Dekinai! 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 It was going on for an hour and a half. Just a poor woman going through it. Here's the thing, though, is that poor Yuki, but you know what? She's always had a lot of like discipline, inner strength, fortitude. She can like ult all the time when the chips are on the table. She's tough. She's a tough woman, legitimately. And I knew what was coming. I saw this quiet concentration on her face, and I knew she was in a hellish amount of pain, but that ain't going to stop her. That's not going to stop her. And she was like, I can do this. I'm going to do this, and I'm not going to be like that. I'm going to handle this business. And I was just like, this is so sick to watch. She's ulting. So then within like an hour, I don't know what happened, but this baby's ready to go. Like she's pushing so hard, and it's like, it's go time. It ain't noon. It ain't going to be 14 hours later. So I moved to the back left of her, and all the doctors start rushing in. They're like, well, it's going. We're starting now. And my job is to hold her head when she leans forward and like starts pushing. And I'm also supposed to I was holding her hand until she nearly broke it. I was like, okay, why don't you use the handle? That's fine. I just take the handle. Okay, that's going to be all right.
The ground
so
quakes.
I was like, Jesus Christ. It's like how she holds my credit card. Hey-oh! I'm going to get in trouble for that one too. So I'm holding her head, and I don't want to be too graphic, but, you know, they have this little towel kind of obstructing my view. And for me, I think she starts going into labor at around 8:15, 8:20 a.m. in the morning. And it all starts feeling like some sort of a watercolor. Like the whole thing just feels like it was painted by Van Gogh, and it's all surrealism. So it's like 8:20, and in like Yuki, she gives like 2 big pushes per attempt. I'm holding her head, and she's doing these 2 presses. Woman next door still full on Itai screaming. Yuki, just effort, pure effort. Just the look in her eye was so like, I want to see this baby. I love this baby. I'm gonna have it. Locked in insanely. And so, but she's pouring sweat. I have like a thing, a little soft, wet, cold cloth that I'm wiping on her forehead and her neck, and she's just in the zone. And then the doctors made one, not like mistake, but they gave Yuki information that you just never, it's like when John Locke in Law says, don't tell me what I can't do. They said, well, we see the head, we see the head, the top of it, and we see like the hair or whatever. And then they said in Japanese, we might need to use the tool to pull the baby's head and the rest of the body out.
That's funny.
And Yuki, it was the only time she spoke. She said the forceps or something. She said, she told me, she's like, I don't want to do that. And I was like, and I don't speak Japanese. So I'm like, you don't want to have the baby now? I was like, I need some more what's the context here? I was like, can we stop? Is it like a break time? What's going on? She's like, no, the tool to pull the baby out. And I was like, okay. I was like, okay. Oh, how you doing, Allie? How are you doing, Allie? Appreciate you. Thank you very much. So I didn't know what was happening. So then I'm just talking about the childbirth that Yuki and I just had. And so I was like, are we okay? She goes, I don't want to use the tool. And then Yuki, sweating, fully exhausted. She'd been up as much as I had, but hadn't been streaming Uma Musume, so I was a little bit more tired. She found an inner strength, the likes of which I will never see again. She pushed not one, not twice, not even 3 times. She went 4 straight magnificent efforts, and the baby was born. Unbelievable. That kind of digging deep and effort is actually insane. Unbelievable. Everything was like a confluence of just effort, exhaustion, will, desire. I was dumbfounded. I was so proud of her in that moment. And I was also like, oh my God, I'm witnessing something like insanely gifted right now. And I was just left in total awe, just total awe.
Present from me
and
to you.
then suddenly the baby is pulled out, and it was like time stopped for me.
The ground quakes.
They were like, well, as the baby was coming out, they were like, somebody told me in English, don't look right now. And then I was like, I looked at the trap, Ray. It was like in Ghostbusters where they're like, don't look at, and I was like, I don't know. And I saw shit that I cannot forget. And then this human came out, and I wish it could have been painted. I have the image burned into my memory. You have 2 doctors on either side of her where the baby's being born. You have one bringing my son into the world, and Yuki leaning forward with anticipation, and they show the baby, and they tap her like on the tummy, and then they have to move it to the side where another doctor's waiting. And as they're moving it, I can see both Yuki and the doctor carrying it, and Yuki lifting her hand and waving and smiling and sweating, and just I imagine she had never loved something, certainly not me, as much as she did that baby at that time. It was incredible. And then they were like, don't look back there. And then I looked at the trap again. And I was like, the baby's purple. It's a zucchini. What's happening? So, that's my fault. Then, all these things happen. I was telling her congratulations. They were fixing the baby up a little bit. And then I was going back and forth between wiping her brow and trying to sneak a peek at the little one. And I remember that after a few minutes and the dust had settled, I feel like they definitely brought the baby around for like a second so that Yuki could hold it and like just look at it for like 20 seconds. Then they moved it back to the little area where they're trying to make it work, like make sure it all is clean and stuff like that, which is where, if you guys are in the Discord, that's when I had a chance to take a look at my son for the first time. And let me tell you, I'm a little biased. But that's one of the most beautiful babies I've ever seen. I love him. I love this guy so much. He's adorable. And the first thing he did was, he grabbed my finger and was squeezing like, either that or he was Kupo blocking me. And, he really does. I feel bad for the kid because he's got my nose. He's got my forehead and hairline. I think he is kind of a Western looking half baby. No doubt about it. I'm so happy. I just wanted a healthy child and absolutely adorable. My only question is, like, the first thing I thought of is, why does my son look like Vizzini from The Princess Bride?
Congratulations.
And so what's his name going to be? Vizzini. It's like just a one name, like Prince. We're just going to we didn't even put a family name. It's just Vizzini. So the little guy was awesome. I just kept rubbing his chest with my finger to tell him, and he was so warm. And, it was just awesome. And then, we all just kind of were exhausted. And then I stayed at the hospital. I got to go take a picture of how much he weighs and all these different, and he's just naked as the day he was born. I guess I understand the expression now. And it was super cool. It was awesome. Then they kicked me out. There was a couple of other, the other moment was after about 4 or 5 hours of being there, they did finally let me hold him. And Yuki got a really sweet shot of me and the baby with the Polaroid from her bed. And I quite like that. It's a very nice photo. I'm really going to cherish that one. I'm very, very happy. So now Yuki has to stay at the hospital till at least Friday or Saturday, possibly Sunday. And I'm going to use the next 3 or 4 days to go out boozing with my friends, smoking cigars, maybe doing a couple streams, hanging out, doing my thing. And I am, but, and then I'm going to have to lock in pretty hard for when she gets back. It's been a lot of fun. And I think that obviously the real job begins in just a matter of days, which I almost made another G1 race joke. Okay. But like when she gets here, it's going to be a lot of a very very, very busy days. And the way that she's describing it is like not a lot of sleep, a lot of crying. And I understand that I'm going to have to play a big part in that. But I still have to make money. I'll still be streaming. I'll still be doing everything I can. It just might be a little bit more erratic. It might be a lot more. It's a one-man band. The Lispy one.
Premiered